Welcome back to High School DxD Anime Review. This is special number 6. This one we're reviewing the 17th light novel of the High School DxD light novel series, Valkyrie of the Teacher Training. Yep. In this particular book, there are at least several characters in this book who actually get some development, and this book does wrap up at least 2 or 3 plot points and sets up stuff for the future. Yes. The first, let's say, half of the book is basically focused on Ross Weiss. Yeah, at the end of the first chapter, when you have like Issei, some of the girls basically in the bath together because well they love doing this. Ross Weiss asks Issei to be her boyfriend because her grandmother's coming to town. Yep. They also resolve like around this during this portion of the book, they resolve something that actually starts something that actually continues for pretty much the rest of the series. Yeah, the whole plot point of Issei looking for a magician, this is basically the final nail in that, when him and LeFay Pendragon do a ceremony, and she officially becomes his official magician, and he puts her under a 5-year contract. He decided not to do a 10-year contract because he was worried about her lifespan, because 10 years would be too much for her, so 5 years would be enough for her, though he might renew it in the future. Who the heck knows? As in the case of Ross Weiss, her grandmother comes down, and it turns out her grandmother, according to LeFay, is actually a famous magician named Gondor. I think that's how you pronounce her name. Yeah. And she meets Issei, and she assumes that he is Ross Weiss's boyfriend. So she agrees to let them start the relationship, even though they kind of started at the end of the book. So they go on a date, and it's very well done. Goes shopping, though everybody else, despite I think it's basically a shopping date, and all the rest of the girls basically all want to go shopping with Issei. He's like, yeah, we'll go shopping in the future. We're like, yeah, because for Issei, this is the 4th time he's gone on a date, because first he went on a date with the woman who actually killed him, the fallen angel, Yumi, I think her name is. Though that was her assumed name. Her actual name is Ravine. He also won a date with Azia, with Aniko, and now Ross Weiss. So he's won on dates with 4 different women, one of whom is now dead. And for Ross Weiss, this is actually the first time he's actually gone on a date. And according to Issei, he says that Ross Weiss is actually about just a year or 2 older than he is, so they're close to the same age, so there's nothing really creepy about this, despite the fact she's actually his teacher. Though they can probably see a relationship in the future. And then, of course, their date is interrupted by the younger brother of Griffith, the one who's married to Sir Zex. Yeah. Her brother. Yeah, he shows up in the book. And he wants Ross Weiss for some reason. Yeah, it's explained the actual reason why this is at the end of the book. Now, I'm going to reveal it right here. The reason why he wants her is because apparently she bears a striking resemblance to Graphelia. Yeah, apparently she looks almost exactly like her, except she's about 10 years younger than she is. And the only resemblance those two have is that the same color hair. And that's it. I mean, there's very little similarity between the two of them. I'm like, wow. That's the reason why? It's because these two look almost exactly alike. I mean, if you compare the pictures between Griffith and Ross Weiss, they look similar, but they're not exactly the same. They don't look exactly like each other. I mean, the only thing similar they have to each other is the same color hair. There's that. And then we also have it where we have this school started up in the underworld. Well, this actual town that has devils in the underworld. Where it's not a school in the underworld. It's a school that's kind of near the academy that Issei and the rest of the crew go to. And Sanji, he's one of the other characters that gets in development in this book. And he wants to become a teacher of the school. He really wants to teach younger kids. But the only way he can get his teaching license is if he becomes a middle-class devil. Issei is currently a middle-class devil. He's one of 3 who got promoted in book 12. Yeah, it was him, Aniko, and Kiba. Yeah. And then, of course, when Issei first shows up, of course, he's there with Rebel. Of course, since she's his manager, she actually has some development. She has a lot to do in this book. This is why I think her character's going to progress character-wise, but she gets a lot to do in this book, which gotta praise the writer for doing that. Yeah, she gets a little development here and there. She basically does her job as Issei's manager. Like, sets up autographs, some pictures, and hear him interact with kids. He's like he's having a blast. And this lasts for a good whole chapter, and then, like, the school gets attacked by Griffith's younger brother, and this is, of course, when he briefly takes Ross Weiss. Yeah, that's the whole revelation about how she bears such resentment to his sister. Eventually, after a long battle, he is defeated, and he's actually taken to his sister, and of course, they sort of reconcile. They sort of reconcile after they've seen each other for a while. And toward the end of the book, they set up several stuff for the future. Like, there's a possibility that Issei might start a relationship with Ross Weiss. That's one thing I set up. The current student council president, she's going to be graduating soon, so Zenobia announced she's going to run for the seat of student council president. I'm not going to say if she wins or not, but that starts here. She does. And she gets permission from Reyes to go for this mission, and she just go for it. She has no problem with it. Despite the fact she's kind of leaving the occult club, but she's still always part of the Grimoire group. Also, there's this really cool moment for Issei when he teams up one of the fathers and one of the kids, where his son is a big fan of his, and he refers to him by his character name, which is Issei Grimoire, even though that's not actually his last name. Yeah, it's the family name of the people he's a servant to. Yep. It's a great piece of character development for Issei, and it's probably the only bit of character development he gets. But he gets some character development, but at least he's got a bunch of fans now. And yeah, this overall was a damn good book. I thoroughly enjoyed reading it. It was actually a much better book than last book. They do continue some stuff from the last book, like the whole thing with the Holy Grail stuff. That's a continuation from the last book. But yeah, this book wraps up 2 plot points while it's setting up stuff in the future, which you got at least got praise for that. And it was really interesting. And apparently, Ross Weiss's grandmother has no problem with the relationship between Issei and Ross Weiss. She refers to him as Mr. Boyfriend, even though she kind of knows his name. She hangs out with Issei for a good portion of the book, and I even like the fact when they team up with the Student Council President's group, and they sort of pair up with the various people. Of course, Issei teams up with one of the other pawns of the group, and he gets heavily injured during this thing. He's one of, like, him and Sanjin, I think that's how you pronounce the guy's name. I thought it was Sanji, but there's no end of his name. There's a comment there quick with me on that. So, yeah. This overall, fantastic book. I would say the books that came between this book, and I've heard book 20 is the best one since book 12. I would say this is probably the best book, one of the best books overall of the whole series. I would say you can probably list this, like, after book 10 as probably in the top 10 best books. I mean, this book is damn good. This was a really good story. I liked it. Okay? I'm going to get this book a 9 out of 10. Fantastic book. Overall. Yeah, and also in case you're wondering if Azazel does anything, he does virtually nothing in this book. He shows up, doesn't do much of anything. Reyes does some stuff. Aniko, the only way Aniko doesn't get much to do in this book at all. Kiba gets some stuff, not a heck of a lot. Irina, she gets a lot to do. I would say that the characters who don't get much to do is Aniko. Let's see. I think it's just her. Yeah, her and Kiniko. Yeah, these two don't get much to do in this book at all, which is kind of weird. Yeah. But at least a lot of the other characters get something to do. And also Orphis, despite the fact she's living with Issei, she is not in the book. Actually, she does pop up once at the beginning, but after that, she doesn't show up after that. So yeah, that's really it for this particular review. Stay tuned for my review of JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, My Hero Academia, and One Punch Man. Okay, but to see you in the next review. Bye.